All right. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the second edition of Trading Bitcoin with your host, Tone Vays. Had to do an emergency session. Good thing I was home to talk about the news that just came out with the regulation from the big Stephen Mnuchin regulation with FinCen on Bitcoin transactions and KYC and what does it mean. I really need to bring you guys a law show. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know what this really means. I put the link in my law group. So hopefully one of the lawyers may be joining us in a little bit. I have a maximum, an absolute maximum of 30 minutes. But let's go take a look at the news. And then we're going to talk about why I think this is incredibly bullish for price, but bad for humans. This is another one of those things. It's like what I was saying about Biden winning the presidency. It is good for Bitcoin, but bad for freedom. It's bad for humanity, things like that. Though Biden's effect on Bitcoin will be small because this is coming out of the Trump administration. He's not a friend to Bitcoin at all by any means. He's not. But anyway, let's go to the news, politics aside. So here's the news that broke, and everything you read, just take it with a grain of salt for now because we don't know what's going on. It is still very, very unclear. We can click on this. You know, the whole thing is pretty long from what I saw. I have not read the whole thing. I know I have some lawyer friends that are reading the whole thing. 72 pages is beyond my short-term reading comprehension. So this is why I rely on experts in order to do that. I do want to know what these acronyms mean. So convertible virtual currency. Okay, that's CVC. And digital assets with legal tender status. Okay, so that's LTDA. So this is like the central bank digital currencies. That's what it sounds like to me. Digital assets with legal tender status. Bitcoin does not have legal tender status as far as I know. And welcome, Sasha. How are you?
Hey,
Oh, wait. I had your audio for a sec and now it's gone.
sorry. Okay, there we go.
Okay, cool.
All right.
How are you?
Oh, pretty good. How about you?
Good, good. I'm not going to blow up your spot. Everyone likes their privacy, but feel free to make any announcements.
Yeah, I'm waiting for this giant baby to come, but I got
Yeah,
about 3 weeks to go.
please don't wear a mask during labor. I don't know what you have to do to make sure you don't, but find a way not to do that because that's insane.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Okay. Um, let's you have you read the 72 page
I've
unreasonably long
skimmed it.
document? You
I've
skimmed
skimmed
it.
it, but I've been reasonably involved with getting FinCen. An approach I started taking with my clients about 6 months ago is getting these FinCen determination letters. So I've received confirmation about monetary instrument logs and currency transaction reports from them just in the last couple months, saying Bitcoin's not required for either of those two things. So I think that's what this report is changing, so that now Bitcoin and all virtual currencies are gonna be included in as a monetary instrument if it all goes through. Like there's 15 days for comments, which is like an insultingly short comment period. It should be 60 days and not over Christmas and New Year's. But uh, but I think what it means is, so every time someone sends Bitcoin to an unhosted, which is like a non KYC'd wallet, like your Green Wallet or blockchain.info, your Trezor, those kind of wallets, um, the exchange that's sending it, or even a Bitcoin ATM, anyone that's a money service business, thank you, is going to be expected to keep a monetary instrument log that this transaction happened. And in order to fill in this log, you need that person's social security number and driver's license information. So
Okay, so the big question is, and I'm gonna, I guess if you're here, I don't have to review the articles. The big question is, this only applies to money services businesses transferring Bitcoin out of those businesses into a non-money service business or another money service business.
or to a non-hosted wallet. So
Right.
non-hosted wallets are not money service businesses.
Right,
So,
right.
but they're
But
still
but
going
this
to
is
require.
one directional from a money service business. If a money service business
Yes.
is sending out a transaction valued over 3,000 US dollars worth, correct? That's the number. That's the magic number.
Yeah.
Right. And
Or now it's going to, so that's one part of it. But then the other part is before, like an OTC desk
wait,
wouldn't
whoa,
have to
you're
file a CPR.
you're
Okay.
getting way ahead. We gotta
All right. Sorry. Sorry.
slow this down. So we gotta
All right.
really slow this down, because if we have to dumb it down for me, you can only imagine. Now, not that I'm that much smarter than the general people, but anyway, let's take this real slow. So this specifically applies to a money service business transferring out digital currency for the crypto, right?
Yes.
So where I'm hinting at here, if a person with a private wallet like a Trezor, if decides to pay you to your Trezor, uh, so far it looks like this regulation does not apply to that transaction. Do I understand that correctly? Because that is the biggest question mark that everyone has.
That's my understanding of it. It only applies to money service businesses.
Okay. And the magic dollar value of that transaction is $3,000?
Correct.
Okay. Now, they snuck that $3,000 in the Patriot Act back in 2001 and have not started and did not actually enforce it until like a decade later. So this is how horrible regulation sneaks in.
Yeah.
Because it used to be 10,000.
Well,
And people still think it's 10,000, but it's not.
the difference between the 10,000 and 3,000 level is, so the Bank Secrecy Act says you need to file a monetary instrument log at 3,000. That's always been there, like since the Patriot Act, but a monetary instrument log is only required for cash, checks. Let me see, I just wrote them down to refresh myself coming on here, but what is it? So currency, travelers checks, negotiable instruments, including personal checks, business checks, official bank checks, cashier's checks, third-party checks, promissory notes, as defined in the UCC. Those are the things that used to be monetary instruments until today, or 15 days from today, and now Bitcoin will also be included in that if this passes, which means that a monetary instrument log for every sale of over $3,000 in Bitcoin will be required, and you need to be able to know who you're selling a monetary instrument to, including that person's social security number.
Yeah, and also like when you read, like these are the articles that I have, the Coin Center piece explains it probably better than the rest, and then they spent like 5 paragraphs cursing at the government for only having a 15-day comment period, which does make sense. Now, they also mentioned the Swiss rule. Are you familiar with the Swiss rule? I am not.
So I saw that I just saw it on here briefly, and I saw someone on Twitter said that Switzerland put something like this in recently where they have to do the same thing with the so-called Swiss rule does not.
Right. They're saying that the Swiss rule created a double standard between other financial transactions and Bitcoin. So this looks like they are simply adding Bitcoin and cryptocurrency into that basket of assets that they refer to as, what was that technical term?
As a monetary
instrument. So which mostly centers around bearer instruments like a traveler's check.
Right. Or any kind of check. And then the other big thing that this impacts is that if Bitcoin is a monetary instrument, or all virtual currencies are monetary instruments, then a currency transaction report is required every time that they're transacted in $10,000 or more by an MSB in a 24-hour rolling period. So that's the other thing.
Okay, so there are additional filing requirements by money service businesses on $10,000 and above transactions.
Yeah, so before you only had to file the CTR report if it was 10,000 in cash. So the only people in the Bitcoin sphere that typically had a reporting duty of CTRs is ATM machines. If someone did over 10,000 at the machine, they have to be able to collect that person's social security number. So that was the first level that you need to collect the SSN from someone, is in order to file the CTR, the currency transaction report, at $10,000. But now, one, you're going to have to file the CTR even if it's someone moving Ethereum to Bitcoin. So every exchange that is dealing in larger volumes, or OTC desks, if they were having a wire transfer come in and they were sending Bitcoin out, they didn't have to file a currency transaction report because there's no cash in that transaction. But now the Bitcoin coming in for the wire out, the Bitcoin itself is going to trigger the need to file a currency transaction report. And same with like any exchange.
This is interesting. Yeah. Okay, so the CTR, the currency transaction report, this is a $10,000 threshold?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and the $3,000 threshold is called what?
It's the monetary instrument log.
The monetary instrument log, does that have an acronym like MNL?
I haven't heard of any acronym for it.
Or sorry, monetary instrument log, MIL,
I guess, MIL.
Okay, so there is a money instrument log that a money services business has to file at 3,000, and then there is a currency transaction report that a money service business has to file at 10,000. But are they, well, you know what, like most people are not money services businesses, but if you're a local Bitcoin dealer, you are a money services business. So now you would have to get a social security number for every transaction over 3,000. So as a local OTC dealer, and this only applies to Americans, right? This is only for U.S. residents and citizens, right?
Correct. But one interesting thing in FinCen's, in the 72-page document, they're also talking about blocking certain jurisdictions. So like, I don't know what jurisdictions, and maybe it's in there and I just didn't read that far yet. But right now, OFAC has certain jurisdictions blocked off, but now they're saying like you can't. So in addition to needing to file a log for putting it to an unhosted wallet, you have to file this money instrument log for sending it to a certain jurisdiction. So how are you supposed to know, where everyone lives, like what jurisdictions they're in? Like, just think of the practicality of this for a Bitcoin ATM company that's trying to, set up their compliance policy. When someone goes to the machine, they can put in any Bitcoin address right now. They put their cash in the machine. They can tell the machine to send it to, and they might have clicked the terms of service that declare that that is their Bitcoin wallet, so that the ATM company isn't getting in trouble with any state laws for third-party transmission. But say I go to your machine, Tone, I put $500 in, and I tell it to go to my green wallet. And then now you, as the ATM provider, well, sorry, I should have said I put $3,001 in. Now you need to figure out where my green wallet is, whether or not that's a hosted wallet, all at the time of transaction. So I don't know how you're not technically, like, there's no capability on the machine to do this, but you'll be outside of the bounds of the law if this is passed, if you let the transaction go through. So basically all Bitcoin ATMs are probably going to have to reduce their limits so that people can't do over 3,000 a day. because they're not going to be able to comply with this.
Yeah, people are asking about FBAR as well. As far as I understand, FBAR, Bitcoin is not subject to FBAR. If it was, that would be a freaking disaster. For those that don't know what FBAR is, that's the Foreign Bank Account Reporting Act. And FBAR, says that if you have a foreign bank, yeah, go ahead, Sasha. You probably know this better than me.
I thought we did say you and I talking about it in Vegas once. I thought we said it is subject to FBAR.
Bitcoin?
If you're because
no way.
Technically a foreign asset.
No,
or
no.
Sorry, no, you're right. What we decided was if it's on a foreign exchange, like if it's on an exchange that's located outside of America.
Yeah, you're right. If your Bitcoin is sitting on a foreign exchange, over $10,000 worth of Bitcoin is sitting on a foreign exchange, then yeah, you are subject to you are potentially subject to an FBAR requirement. And if the U.S. government finds out and you didn't report it, the penalty is 50% of the amount of value in that bank account or in that account. And that 50%, as far as I know, it's cumulative, which is insane. So if you don't report it for 3 years and it just stayed at above $10,000 and didn't change in value, you owe the government your entire balance plus 50% of that balance. Yeah, it's 50% of the account for every year you don't report it. It's insane, but even FBAR, it's still not as bad as FATCA regulation, and it's not as bad as the Bank Services Act, the Bank Secrecy Act. Sorry, the Bank Secrecy Act is absolutely brutal, and I believe that well, not to get too political, but the current political situation with the way Biden was elected, plus the Bank Secrecy Act, those two is what's going to destroy America as a superpower. Not the money printing, not anything else. Those two, the loss of confidence in U.S. elections, alongside with the Bank Secrecy Act. And the Bank Secrecy Act isn't the standalone. It's Bank Secrecy Act plus FBAR plus FATCA plus the Patriot Act. All of these laws and regulations that have destroyed the ability for you to use your money any way that you like. That is what's going to destroy the US dollar. It's not the printing of the US dollar. People can't get enough of the US dollar, but there are all these limits on how to use the US dollar is what's going to destroy the US dollar and America as a global superpower. I don't know what's next, but America will be done. And these laws is what's going to take it down. Okay. Sasha, I have to look at the price because I only have 10 more minutes. Anything else you want to say real quick before I do?
No. I'll gonna hop off and eat some dinner, but it was nice catching up with you briefly here, Tone.
All right, awesome. We got to do a proper show on this, but it's good to know that those with Bitcoin in their node or on their Trezor is unaffected. But the moment, but if you're going to buy Bitcoin from a regulated institution like that has filed for a money services license, money services business, then they would immediately send all your info to the U.S. government with a report if you're withdrawing over 3 and a more intrusive KYC report if you're withdrawing over 10.
Right. All right. Thanks.
Later, Sasha. And
wait,
and also,
just one quick question on the price. Did the price went up on this news? What the heck?
The price,
it would go down?
The price did go up on this news, and the price should skyrocket on this news. This is incredibly bullish for the price of Bitcoin because it's bad for humanity. Anything that's bad for humanity is good for the price of Bitcoin. So the shittier your life is in the future, the better the price of Bitcoin. So it's a small consolation price for those holding Bitcoin. The reason is because over the next 15 days, people with Bitcoin on these exchanges are going to take it off exchanges and move it into cold storage. And by de facto, taking Bitcoin out of circulation from being sold. You're not going to want to sell your Bitcoin. You're going to hoard that Bitcoin. It's like in times of stress. If you know the barbarians are coming, you take your silver and you bury it in the ground. And then if you get killed, that silver isn't going to be found for 1,000 years, but eventually it'll be found. This is the same thing. And if these laws get very, very intrusive, look, the U.S. is still the richest country in the world. Maybe not by capita, but it's the richest country overall because there are 300 million people in the U.S. and on average, there's a lot of millionaires here. Obviously, in Dubai, there is a very rich, probably the average person in Dubai is richer, but they have a lot less people. So the majority of the wealth, the majority of the Bitcoin wealth is probably held by Americans. Now, the really, really smart ones that got into Bitcoin early had nothing to do with the US, but that second tier of wealthy Bitcoiners are generally US persons. And if a law like this is starting to scare them, this is one small step. This is one small step towards, regulations on self-hosted wallets. And if the regulation on self-hosted wallets comes, it might be too late to get out of Dodge. But this is that warning shot. So this is going to be, that kick in the butt
Tone,
for Americans.
what about?
Yeah, go ahead.
This might not be the most well thought out question, but okay, so one idea for this, and I think the most rational, is get all your money onto a self-hosted wallet right now in the next 15 days. But then how are you going to dump it if you ever want to, if you can't move it from the self-hosted wallet back to Coinbase or somewhere like that?
Well, that's the thing. It's an option. There's nothing stopping you from moving it back to Coinbase if you want to sell it. But at least now you have options.
Now there's nothing, but down the road, do you see that as being? I mean, that's something I'm concerned about. Is that these companies? Okay, today, yeah, Bitcoin's monetary instrument log, and we're going to make a bigger distinction between hosted and unhosted wallets. But what about? Will they ever say like, oh, if it's a non-hosted wallet, the exchange doesn't want to touch it because it could be, ranked low by CipherTrace or something like that?
And that's a later problem. But in the meantime, here's the other option, right? Like look, people that are willing to hold Bitcoin self-hosted, we have a high time preference. We're not a low time preference people. So you put your Bitcoin in your self-hosted wallet and pray, and I guess within a decade, there is a high probability the United States will collapse and they will not be able to enforce this anyway. Also, you have time to potentially make plans to no longer be a U.S. citizen if you don't want to. But this is how a superpower collapses. They go after people's money. It's incredible how in the last 20, 30 years, though it's heard a lot earlier, like none of these politicians learned from history that the destruction of every single empire has been the removal of people's freedoms, most of all, freedom of their money. And that's why the world has a new reserve currency every 100 years or so, not because they end up over-regulating the currency itself. And no one wants to hold that currency. So I do think people will take this seriously. I do think people will protect their Bitcoin and their cold storage and then deal with it later. Like if in the future, you can't move your Bitcoin onto the exchange, but one Bitcoin is worth $300,000, I'm sure you will find a way to move it, right? I'm sure there will be a ridiculous black market where a guy will pay you for that Bitcoin. You may have to give him a discount, but there will certainly be markets. The world, as much as the governments are trying to make sure no human ever travels ever again, like every country is like North Korea now. You can't leave your zip code. Eventually that has to end. Now, I hope it doesn't end with a microchip in you that's telling you if you got a vaccine or not. But anyway, it's going to get bad. But for now, this is a warning shot to stop using or stop letting these money service businesses hold your Bitcoin. And the more you protect your Bitcoin, the less likely you are to spend it, the less likely you are to use it. So this is basically a move to remove more Bitcoin from circulation Now, a lot of people will also lose their Bitcoin because they'll mismanage their cold storage. Either way, this is, I mean, good for the price of Bitcoin to rise. It may not rise this second, but this is incredibly bullish for the price of Bitcoin. But like I said, this is bad for freedom. What's bad for freedom is usually good for the price of Bitcoin. I'd rather see the Bitcoin price crash, but have more freedom. I'll take freedom over a high value of Bitcoin any day.
Mm-hmm.
All
Unless
right.
that high value of freedom buys you, or high value of Bitcoin buys you all the freedom somewhere else.
But it's you know it's easier said than done. Sure, the high value of Bitcoin could buy you freedom as long as you get out of your communist regime before you can't. Like
Yeah.
really rich Venezuelan could have really bought his freedom if he got out in time. Because if he didn't get out in time, well, it didn't matter. He was done. So you can only buy that freedom up to a point, because what a lot of these socialists, communists don't realize is they're voting in their own destruction. Like, I'm here in Vegas, and the governor in Vegas is a Democrat, and that's why here in the desert, which is unreasonably cold for some reason, but here in the desert, it's illegal right now to walk around the street without a mask. The
Oh
reason why
gosh.
the reason why that is because the idiots in Nevada, and by the idiots in Nevada, I mean all the Californians that have moved to Nevada because they destroyed their state with communist laws. They moved to Nevada and voted in straight up communist governor in Nevada, which is basically going to destroy Nevada. Like, people used to move to Nevada because of their tax policies and all this stuff. But if the governor is going to have a policy saying you have to walk around, and summer is coming, you have to walk around in, 100-degree heat outdoors wearing a mask because he wants to rule you like a communist dictator. And yeah, I'm kind of pissed off at Las Vegas right now.
Yeah.
And I'm here.
Come to Florida. It's a
Oh, I'm
little
coming
bit
back to
better.
Florida. Well, I'm
Yeah.
definitely coming back to Florida. This is insane.
I think Florida and Texas are like the two best places in the world right now.
Yeah, Arizona
Which
too.
is crazy. Yeah.
No, you know what? You people in Arizona, you deserve this shit too. Okay, your state also went blue. So I'm praying that your communist governor makes you wear a mask in August in Arizona, like outside. Like, if you don't wear a mask in Arizona outside in August, you go to prison. Like, that's what you get for voting in these ridiculous people running for office.
Everyone's cheering it on, all the Democrats. It's so crazy. I saw,
Yeah.
did you see someone did a Freedom of Information Act request on New York of what went into their mask policy, and they had nothing, not one document saying, masks are good, and there was no
Well, of course
comment
not.
period. Like, it's just all been, anyway, whole other topic, but
Of course not.
I'll let
All
you get
right,
on
Sasha, I'm going to let you go. I finished my rant on Nevada. I do have to take a look at the price. We are
Yeah.
pulling back right now. This is the 1-hour chart. Notice the 1-hour chart hit an MRI top. Now, what I wanted to pull up was the, okay, I'll let you go. I'll just say goodbye, Sasha, unless you want to stick around and hear the price.
I do, but I have a hot dinner waiting for me
All
that I'm
right,
gonna go
awesome.
eat.
All right, we'll let
All
you
right,
go.
thanks.
Hey, stay safe, and congratulations. It's you have one other
Thank
month to
you.
go.
Yeah.
One more month to go.
Yeah. Thanks, Tone. We'll see you later. Nice talking with you. Bye.
Bye. Yeah. So when you vote in, Chavez 2020, exactly. By the way, Chavez got reelected, and Maduro got reelected by the same exact practices and the same exact machines used in our election. That's all I'm saying. Okay, and no one wants to do anything about this. Yeah, I am still in GBTC. I did not exit my position today because, as I stated, as long as we stayed within this zone during market trading hours, I was going to leave my position over the weekend. And so far, it's been a wise decision. Now, we are pulling back right now on this hour. Now, we're going to zoom out to the 4-hour chart, and we're going to take a look what the 4-hour chart looks like. And the 4-hour chart is reasonably bullish. You see, this last candle, while it was a extension B ending candle coming off an MRI double top, now this kind of broke. Wow, we actually came close to, if I put the numbers to this, if I display the trend numbers, we came close to getting an MRI buy right here. The MRI buy could have come right there. Oh, no, it took a while to reset. Okay, no, we weren't even close to the MRI buy. But this is a bullish looking look. Once we get above this channel, and the hourly looks much, much cleaner. Once we get above this channel and close above this channel, we're definitely challenging the all-time high. I'm confident in it. Now, but notice the 1-hour chart is coming up on an MRI top, so we can easily pull back a little bit. The daily is really critical here. The daily is coming up. This is what I was warning you guys about. Look, the daily is was on extension B. Well, today, this is tomorrow's candle. It just started a few minutes ago. 40 minutes ago, this candle began, but this is the candle we'll have for the next 24 hours. This is both an MRI warning candle and an extension C candle. This is also an extension C candle. And tomorrow, Sunday, sorry, not tomorrow, but the day after tomorrow, Sunday, is going to be an MRI top. So there's lots of reasons right here as to why the market should be topping. But I do believe that this news, while it may not affect Bitcoin today, I believe it will affect Bitcoin over the next 2 weeks. And I think more and more people, you will see more and more tweets, you will see more and more people yelling and screaming as to why you should immediately get your Bitcoin off of regulated exchanges and put them into cold storage and then figure out what to do with it later. That's going to be that is going to be the big question. Sorry, not the big question. The big push to, and we're going to find out how many of these exchanges are actually liquid and are able to provide you with all of the coins. So there you go. And here are the articles. As we heard, we will, it's a 72-page document, and every word and syllable needs to be fully analyzed. And we still don't know the end result of a lot of this stuff. So we will need to find out. Yeah, maybe Trump screwed up. Maybe Trump thought that he would catch the Democrats cheating and then he would win it in court. And, just like Hillary screwed up in a 2016 election, she didn't cheat hard enough because they didn't think that Trump had a chance to win, and Trump crushed her. So this year, the Democrats made sure that they were going to win, but Trump didn't stop it early enough. He decided to let them do it, thinking that he can show all this evidence and show it to the people, and the people would be behind him. But the people are not behind him. Trump is, from what I've seen in my lifetime, Trump is the most disrespected president in history. And I don't mean American history. I mean in history. I don't think I've ever seen a president of any country, even like Kim Jong-un, even Castro. I think Trump is more disrespected by the average global citizen than any world leader in the last 100 years. Maybe not 100 years, because Hitler is there in the last 100 years, but like in the last 50 years. How will the next election be different? I don't know. I don't think I'll be around to find out. I won't care. All right. There's not much more I can say about the price. We can look at how the S&P closed. The S&P closed bullish. Nice bullish day, nice rebound at the end of the day. Gold probably closed bullish. Gold closed flat. That's okay. GBTC rallied into end of day. I did not exit. I had a sell limit order closer to 31, above 30. GBTC premium was actually good at 34, but I needed GBTC to go above the body of yesterday's candle. I had it set to above 30. I don't think I had it set as high as 31. My limit order is around 30 and a half, but I'm not going to have this order going into Monday. This order was a day order, so it's canceled. I don't have a sell order right now. I don't have a stop loss and I don't have a sell order. We are set to go for Monday. I do see this news as bullish for the price of Bitcoin, but I hate this news. I absolutely despise it, but it is bullish for the price of Bitcoin. But the daily chart is coming into a top. And this is where my fundamental analysis is bullish. My weekly technical analysis is bullish. My monthly technical analysis is on a caution sign, but my daily technical analysis is coming into a top. It's coming into a top over the next 48 hours, 48 to 72 hours. Now, the hourly chart is near a top, but I still think we're going to break through. I'm still bullish going into the weekend, and the top could come on Monday. We could get some very interesting spikes on Monday because of this news as it gets further and further analyzed. Oh, and by the way, this kills altcoins. This is really bad for altcoins. At least people are willing to, put up with some shit when it comes to Bitcoin. Imagine having to deal with a dozen altcoins in values of over $10,000 on foreign exchanges potentially as a U.S. citizen. This is even however bad this news is. This is even worse for shitcoins. People are saying Trump is letting this happen under his watch. Well, the only way Trump could not let this happen is to actually act like a dictator and arrest half the Democrats. And while that would probably be the greatest thing a U.S. president can do, it would certainly not make him look good and will certainly make him look like a tyrant in the eyes of the world. And that's not what America's about. As much as a lot of these guys need to be sitting in prison in a mask for the destruction that they've caused to economics. All right, guys, I got to get going. I said this would only be a 30-minute show. It's already ran a little bit past that. I do have to get going, but this news is definitely important. But it's not even this news, it's the next piece. Like, how far more are they going to take it? This is like when you give in and start wearing a mask in the shower because of regulation, then you're opening the door for additional regulation to just completely take away all of your freedoms. All right, guys, on this note, I'm going to call it a day. Frustrating day, but I'm going to call it a day. And I will probably see you this weekend at some point. I like to take in the weekends off, but I guarantee you there'll be a stream tomorrow, but I may take Sunday off. All right. I'll talk to you all on the next one. Bye, guys. Good luck. And get your coins off the damn exchange.